New game. Choose a character class. Operator. Oh, we've got a fancy foot. Slash leg. Works with drones in high precision remote machines to perform complex tasks. Oops. Sorry. From a distance. Sleepers assigned to operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Perk transfer intercept. Chance to gain cryo on interface action. Where's the a visual novel is when you don't have any form of interaction other than forward and maybe a choice. But as soon as you have a choice, in my opinion, it's already more a game than a novel. I know that there's a big cloud of discussion about that topic, but if there's more than just forward and maybe choice, it's a game, alright. We don't have a lot of strength or strength of will, but we are really good with the digital interface. Okay, what choices do we get? Extractor. But it was not what you were looking for, right? That's what I get from your remark. It's not what you were looking for. Photosynthetic skin. Well, that's nice. Sun-bathed dissection allows energy recovery at home. I do photosynthesis, but just with coffee. Extractors work on resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Sleepers assigned to extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. And then there's the machinist. With a little robot on their shoulder, look at that. Repairs and modifies automated systems used in industrial resource extraction. Sleepers assigned work are usually to the machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. Sounds a lot like me. I don't want to roleplay myself. So we're gonna take here the operator with the drone. Unknown. The first thing you become aware of on waking is the disconnect. The delay between thinking and feeling, between wanting to act and acting. Minor, almost imperceptible, but always present. Crypto. No, cryo. Cryo is the cryptocurrency stored in air-walled whatnots. Air-walled sticks of memory known as chits. The first thing you okay. It's at its worst when waking, when yourself has spent many dark hours recalling what it felt like to be real, to be a person, to be in a body that was indisputably yours. Well, forget that body. You resist nostalgia. It is pointless, especially now. This is the moment to reach out, not curl inwards. Let me know if this music's too loud. This is your moment of escape. Even if it feels immediately like you traded one prison for another, smaller, colder, lifeless. Reach out. You almost laugh. Or you would if there was room or even air to do so. The walls of the container are immediately present. Hold hard at your back and face, cramping your limbs. You resist the desire to stretch, knowing that the claustrophobia comes next, and retreat a little from your central nervous system. It isn't painful, not like you used to know pain at least. In emergency mode, pain is a message delivered with efficiency and ease, a reminder that harm is imminent. There is no insistent throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the how do you pronounce that in English? I didn't know it was an English word. It's a German word for sure. Listen.
Banal.
Banal. Okay. Very similar to how you pronounce it in German. Ah, got you there.
Mundane.
Same thing.
Banal.
Sassleo.org or English UK. So I'm going to go with that, with the banal quality of a digital notification. Right now there are thousands of them. Oh, be careful with the link dots. Dots are dangerous. Leo is wrong. So, there's no cyst throb, no trembling nerves, just a warning delivered with the banal quality. I'm going to drive you nuts with that now, of a digital notification. Right now there are thousands of them. Remember the plan. You mostly remember that it wasn't a good plan, but then your options were limited. And once you get the itch to get out by any means possible, it was either that plan or something much worse. It was at least simple. Collapse the shaft, drift away in the chaos, slip into cargo processing, see yourselves into containers, and then just hope the freighter left before you were missed. Ooh, that sounds like a bad plan at all. Some were lost in the shaft, others never found the meeting point, only a few made it to the containers. But the freighter, as far as you know, left. That feels like enough to know that you might no longer be on that grim and heartless rock. Even if in the airless hold of a freighter you might freeze solid long before you reached any destination. Let's try to rest. Are you restless? It has been a long time since you left, surely weeks, maybe months. You are dully aware of damage to your legs, to your right arm. You have been reserving energy as much as possible, but even then your body has shut many of its systems down to protect you. You've spent much of that time asleep, knowing that anything else would be impossible to endure. You feel the weight of that impossibility begin to gather. It's time to sleep again, to nudge this false body into inducing delta waves in your emulated mind, and once again recoil into a dream of when you were once a person. Rest. Time passes. The cold creeps further in. It's claustrophobic. Feel something. Aha! Warmth. Not true warmth, but the indication of its presence. Your joints release from their rigor. Sound too, everywhere. Screeching and shimmering so loud that your body ducks your hearing to protect its sensors. And then light. White as the coal, then softer and softer until in a haze of dirty yellow a figure appears. You are out. We are out! Ooh. So, we escaped a mining ship of sorts? Or a mining facility on a rock, on an asteroid? By putting ourselves in sort of cryotanks. You know. And now we are on a ship. Dragos. A pragmatic and private salvager. Hashtag pirate. It has been a few hours since Dragos pulled you from the container. You sit huddled in a corner of his scrapyard, swaddled in the reflective folds of her mylar blanket. You are slowly coming back to consciousness, back to life, and you stare at the ornately curving element of an improvised heater. You are surrounded by angular, incoherent lumps of ships, some corroded beyond recognition. Others still carrying glassy wounds along their edges where a plasma arc sliced them apart. The characters look awesome. As you trace their shapes with fogged eyes, you hear a voice. So, Sleeper, you all thawed yet? Most. Never seen one of you come in like this. You frames must have better perseverance than Sub-Zero Vac. Seen more than a few of you frozen solid to hull plates or inside outer locks in my time. They weren't so lucky. Dragos comes into focus, shrouded in makeshift tech. His headset with its glinting eyes, the mark of a drone operator. On his shoulder, one of his symbiotically linked drones perches, its irising eye blocking you with an unflinching stare. Last living sleeper that came through this yard was a while ago. They didn't last long. You struggle to read his expression beneath the tech, but he seems lost in memory for a moment. Or perhaps he's just figuring out what to do with you. I plan to survive. Determination, right? You aren't sure if he hears you. I won't ask what led you to do it, to sell yourself to a corporation, and I suppose you know you can't go back. Your old body, that's theirs now. And you are just software. A rogue emulation illegally possessing corporate property. Okay, so that's what I did. I was basically a remote drone controller, and somehow my mind was in the drone controlling it, and my body was in the control station at some corporation doing mining work. And apparently I disconnected my mind from my old body, and now I'm in the mining drone body, or you know, something like that. That's pretty cool. Illegal, he says. You nod along. You remember biometrically signing the forms, the cold floor on your feet as you padded to the sleeper cells. The promise of a life off-world. But as you do, you get the now familiar sensation that these aren't your memories. These are things you know, but not things you feel. You are no longer that person. You are an offshoot, a copy. What you won't know is what's ahead. At least the last one didn't. There's no easy way to put it. That body of yours is falling apart. It's the same for any sleeper who makes it out. SN ARP wants to protect their property. That's the corporation. But if they can't keep hold of you, well, then no one can. You remember that too, or at least rumors of it from the other sleepers. Planned obsolescence. Planned obsolescence, yeah. A built-in dependence on the regularly administered supplements that were part of your routine. Stop taking them, and your body begins to shut down. Separate from your emulated mind. How long has it been? How long do you have? But for now, Sleeper, you are one of the lucky ones. Dragos glances up and away towards the glassy dome of the yard. The eye is the best place you could be right now. The eye? The station. You'll see soon enough. Dragos impatiently shifts his way. Look, I've got things to be getting on with. He trails off. There's an old freight container I've been using as storage out in the stacks. We haven't been pulling in much valuable scrap these days, so you're welcome to it. Something wells up inside of you. Emotion, fatigue. You shakily get to your feet and nod. Alright, you head on up there. You look like you need some rest. And with that, Dragos stalks back into the wrecks, his drones already converging on a rusting hulk. Plasma flashes silhouetting his spindly figure as he returns to work. Welcome to Erlin's Eye. Life on the Eye runs in cycles during which you can talk to characters, explore areas of the station, and perform actions. At the end of each cycle, you need to head to your current home to rest. Resting will move time forward on the station. Head to the empty container location to rest, and end the cycle now. Alright, we can use the mouse wheel to scroll along the station. It's a ring orbital, I think. So, for now we're gonna go here to our container. All cycles need to end. Rest and prepare for the next one. You wake up. No, you wake, curled up in the corner of the container and begin slowly assembling the world around you. After all this time, you still find this body, the one you wake in now, strange and disjointed. Its message is readable, but somehow wrong. You sit up, pulling the mylar blanket close against the cold. Here you are, on this ruined station, millions of miles from anyone you know. Are you still in the system? Did any of the others make it out? It's impossible to know. After all this, what matters? Well, building a life matters. Maybe you did get lucky finding yourself here. Maybe here, on the edge of everything, there's a life for you to build. But before you can build anything, you'll need to learn to survive. Maybe if you can do that, you can make a life for yourself. Rakos has left a few comforts in the container: the mylar blanket, the bedroll you slept on, a canister of water, a makeshift electric stove, and some faded sachets of desiccated powder. You thumb the power stud of the stove and begin to boil the water. The contents of the sachet smells like damp wood, and you sprinkle them into the liquid. Ugh. As the pungent smell washes over you, images of your restless sleep come back to you. A ring like the station, but skeletal and ghostly. A web of threads pulling at your skin. Constellation of bright polygonal shapes, like angular suns burning into your mind. Right, a bit faster. Less music. There's something unpleasantly visceral about these images, and it is long after you finish drinking that they begin to fade. You tidy away the stove as best you can and try to gather enough energy to greet the day. Tutorial. See, a visual novel does need a tutorial. So this is a game, but it's a game that focuses on the storytelling part and has a lot of text in it, which for some might be off-putting and for others might be inviting. So it's at this point where it splits up between I was wanting a visual novel and I kind of wanted a game. So you need to see if there's enough game for you to want to play it, or if it's enough visual novel for you to deal with the game. If I want to put it into, you know, opposing player types. Your condition represents the current state of your artificial body. It depletes by one segment each cycle, but can also be damaged by violence. Injury or lack of food. If your condition bar empties, you will suffer a breakdown. You'll have to figure out how to recover your condition now that you no longer have access to corporate pharmaceuticals that were keeping you alive. Planned obsolescence. Action dice. Each cycle you roll your action dice. These dice can be used. This is very immersion. Counter immersion. It can be used to perform actions on the station. The number of dice rolled is based on your current condition. The worse your condition, the less dice you have. Once you have used your dice, you cannot take any further actions and must rest to recover them, ending the current cycle. Thusly. You assume it eventually goes into fighting fantasy book type gameplay? I don't know. If we have, let's say 4 dice for 4 different actions, and it's basically turn time based, it's more than fighting fantasy books, which is a very linear experience, and I don't think this is a very linear experience. We'll see. It will be another 20 minutes before we know exactly. You also need to eat. You've got an energy bar. It's probably the yellow one. No, this one here. Condition is up here, and then there's the energy bar. You can refill by eating, but first you have to find food and currency. A cycle costs 2 energy. On empty you will starve, and then your condition will deplete at a double rate per cycle. Yeah, okay, starving kills you quicker. But you will definitely die. So, that's our character. We can get upgrade points. On the left we can upgrade for 1, on the right we can upgrade for 2. On interface actions I have a chance to get currency, which is good. I see that we can get the gain energy after engage. Predictive reasoning, okay. Repair condition. Oh, self-repairs, that's good. So, since, you know, since that seems to be something that's going to happen definitely, the deterioration of our person. I did right click. I'm not sure why something happened. Draco stood in the corridor when you close up the container. He's still wearing his headset, and in the harsh light of the corridor you realize it is implanted. A drone sits on his shoulder, its cache of sensor eyes rapidly irising. How are you feeling? Okay. The drone chirps. Good to hear. You notice that beneath the operator's rig, his skin is marked by burns and blotches. I know the container isn't much, but it'll keep you safe. He pauses. So, I'm not going to chit-chat too long. You well enough to work? Work? Look, I'll be honest with you, Sleeper. I didn't pull you out of that container out of the goodness of my heart. He looks away. A bit ashamed, then. At the yard, it's simple stuff. We whack these old hulls down, sell them off to the shipyards or the bright market dealers for cryo. Occasionally, we pull out some tech, something with a bit more value, but most of what comes in is scrap. It's hard to find good hands here, but I figure as a sleeper you'll be used to the manual labor. And obviously I'll slip you a few chits of commission based on what you turn up. Okay, cool. He shuffles his feet nervously. Look, I wouldn't usually do this, and in my opinion you'd best be suited moving on as quick as you can as sleeper as well. But things being in the way that they are for me at the yard, I need the help. Yeah, okay. Sure thing. He gave me a place to sleep, right? Okay. He pauses, thinking of something else to add. Look, just come down to the yard when you're feeling fresher. There's plenty to do. Will do. He nods distractedly and turns and walks away, the drone hopping along ahead of him. See you later, he calls back. Looks like it's time to get to work. Right, so let's investigate these here. We've got 2, 2, 1, and 3. Yeah, I was looking for this again here. It just vanished for some reason. Let's see. This is scrapyard. Repeatable. You can drag them to places. Now, actions are the way to interact. Drag the dice to the slots. So, anybody who saw me stream Tharsis, that is similar in how it does the action planning. Tharsis was about a space station that had a crew of a few people, and they have got different skills. And you manage the crew's potential actions, trying to survive. Because the station's breaking apart, and there are different skills necessary, and you normally don't have all the skills, and then you have to sort of make it work. It looked like the most boring game ever when I saw it on the Steam page. Like a static image of a station, then some faces, which were probably... I don't know, stock photos or the developer team or whatever. It was weird, and then some dice. That was it. But the game was so exciting because it created a sort of atmosphere and pressure, and you sort of could get into it if you know, unless you couldn't. It worked for me, is what I want to say. And this looks like it's similar. Positive goes better than expected. Success or fail. All 6 is guaranteed. 1 and 2. It's no chance it's going to be better than expected. 3 and 4 is where it starts to get interesting. And 5 and 6 is no negatives. That's what we need to know. 5 and 6, no negatives. 1 and 2, no positives. But a 50% chance on 1 and 2 already for a success. There are types to the actions. Critical or repeatable. Repeatable action. Risky, okay. Modifiers on the side. The skill that this action requires. No loss of condition. Negative outcomes, cryo or energy loss. On a dangerous action, you always lose something, unless it's a success. Yeah, okay. That was a bit too complicated with describing what they were wanting. So, the cycle clock. What? Okay, a debt called in. Dragos is tied up in something ugly, and if he misses a payment or 2 things... Oh, there's a comma missing. And if he misses a payment or 2, things could get nasty. Back in business. Every salvager knows they are always just one lucky haul away from their next payday. So back in business is linked to both actions. And that called in is a timer. We've got 2 energy, which will last us till the next cycle. Manual salvage is safe. Hull dissection needs engineer skill, which we don't have in the positives, but it's not negative either. It's risky though. Right, so if I remember correctly, on a rescue operation, if it's not a success, we lose something. Right, so there's a 50% chance for a proper success, and then a 25% chance for a very good success, and a 25% chance for a negative. Safe always sounds good, but I get -1 on the dice roll. Like the dice with or the die with 2 gets reduced to a 1. So even though it's safe, it's pretty much guaranteed to fail unless I put this one in, and even then I lose the chance of a positive outcome. Neutral. The 50% triggered. Actions often progress clocks. Clocks are displayed below the actions that fill them, and they track your actions and how they affect the world. Yes. Some clocks tick themselves once each cycle. Yeah, cycle clock. Makes sense. Okay. Will be displayed on the location. Yeah, we need better dice. This is already 50-50 on the risky thing. I'm not sure. I'd rather do 50-50 on the safe one. It would be cool if you could use more than one die to boost it. You will unlock drives as you discover more about yourself. Drives guide you to pursuing objectives depending on quests. They could have called them quests. Find a doctor. You're now free to explore. Try tracking a drive to help you survive. Look for food. Kill clocks. Remember to end the cycle at your home when you're out of the dice. Rotate. Ooh. Negative outcome. I still got 5 cryo though from my character's skill. Okay, so we got some currency. Repay Dragos and survive. You need access to corporate pharmaceuticals, otherwise this escape attempt will come to rapid end. We'll track that. Oh, you can only track one. Okay. I see. So, I can go back here. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that's fast. Whee! So, you can check out the station. Rotunda Wet Dock. There's a yellow cycle. An old dock terminal. The Bright Market. Low end gate. Passage to another part. Okay, as soon as you use the mouse, it defaults to this perspective here. Wonder why this is red and the others are yellow though. Shipyard. Let's see. If I go here. Helion Crossing. Merchants willing to run the gauntlet of the Helion systems are rare, but those that do always return eventually. Okay, so at some point they will arrive here, is what I gather from that. The Rotunda. Steel dock plans. Havenage. I think that's what I call it, not Havenage. Havenage. Run the Rotunda. And their security watches the docks. Better to avoid attracting their attention. Steel dock plans. Cool. Quite some options already, I would say. Salvage sortie. Take several cycles to reach the Starwood belt and return loaded with scrap from the old wrecks. That's where we find a doctor. There's danger in asking for directions. Explore the market. Local knowledge. Oh well. Let's see. The smell, sounds and buzzing activity of the Bright Market makes it a dizzying place to wander, but an enticing one too. Oh, I lost energy. Only have 1 energy. Lost in the crowd, you struggle to keep a sense of direction. You sit in an alley, exhausted, with no idea where to go. Oh god. We're not keeping up. Oh boy. Now I'm starving. Yeah. So the game does limit your exploration attempts a bit, doesn't it? This is blinking. Yard hand. Okay. Risky and dangerous. Oops. any more. Oh, we can't do any more here. Okay. Let's see. Our condition will worsen, but I currently can't even see our condition. Wasn't it like there was 3 different things? Okay, this time you don't wake up. Instead, the ghost of the station and shifting skeletal rings surrounds you. For a moment you're gone, absent from your own body, stretched out across a colorless void. And then the connections begin to establish themselves, threads tugging on the edge of your mind. These threads become vectors of exchange and then extensions as you feel your thoughts slipping away down them, solving into the millions of distributed nodes they connect to. You see the station, or you feel the station like a web of texture in a smooth black liquid. We want to touch it. You find a point in the station and you connect to it, pulse through it, follow loops and paths under and around it. You touch more points than you have fingers, and then you try in a moment of impulsiveness to connect to them. The flow passes through you so rapidly that you feel yourself being carried with it, splitting and separating, eddying and gathering. As you do, things occur to you, things that you can't possibly know. You reach out, try to grasp them, and try to touch them too. You notice a tugging feeling, pulling at you, insistently, as if it were a small child. Somehow, it is pulling in 2 directions at once. You look down. All of a sudden, everything shuts off. You come back trembling into this unfamiliar body, both yours and not yours all at once. You find yourself standing in the container, eyes now open to the dark steel walls. You feel a change within you, a shift. You close your eyes for a second and you feel it waiting there. Station splayed out across your mind, a storm of connective nodes waiting to be explored, and then it's gone. Oh, look at that, guaranteed. Yes. Oh, we're starving. We're supposed to find a doctor. Everything that has a cycle attached to it is now going forward. And I haven't found a place to spend currency. And I guess the bright market would be something like that. Right? If we put that here, it can't be negative, even though it's a dangerous operation. Right? Or we explore it on our own. Local knowledge +2. So, out of the 3 necessary to gain a local knowledge, we have now 2. So I could do that again, but the thing is, I also need to do some work, I guess, right? The slum doctor. Next comes the call from the enforcer at the door. You shuffle down the flickering hallway towards the open apartment door. You keep your head down and your shoulders high in the queue, trying not to bring attention to yourself. You were thankful for the tip-off that a doctor was operating out of this place, but now you are here, you aren't so sure. The gang enforcer on the door, the flickering light strips, the decaying hat block, they have all made the long queue a test of your nerve. But your options are few, and without a supply of stabilizer, your body will, You suppress a shiver and shuffle forward to the front of the queue. You try to find something to distract yourself. Let's take a peek inside. You lean against the doorframe and look into the apartment. The entryway is dark, punctuated by the green indicators of stacks of sealed containers. You lean in and see amber light filtering through a far doorway, screened with plastic sheeting beyond which blurred shapes move. The slap of the enforcer's palm against the doorway jerks you awake. Wait your turn, he growls. After a few moments, a figure pushes through the doorway and you catch a distant voice. Send the next one in, Toshiro. The enforcer jerks his head and you slip inside, passing through the dark entryway and pushing through the plastic sheeting on the far door. The room beyond is bathed in warm light. The floor-to-ceiling transparent panel gives a full view of the bright market sealed roof and the buzzing traffic above. And for a moment you are transfixed by the motion. Interesting cape. Sabine the doctor. Come sit, comes a sharp voice, and you see a silhouetted figure turned away, replacing the plastic sheeting over the frame of a simple folding bed. You make your way across the room. The figure turns, and as they do, you see an expression of confusion flash across their features. They open their mouth as if to speak. They blink and then quickly regain their composure. Please sit. They gesture to the bed, then return to an open case of tools on the table. You sit. Sabine turns, a compact diagnostic scanner of some kind in their hand. They hold it to their eye. Remain still, please. Their tone is clipped and businesslike. You stare ahead and still dazed from their expression when you enter. Fear, recognition, sadness, unmistakably etched across their face. Do they know us? How long have you been on the station? They ask, the scanner still to their eye. A few cycles. It's good you came to me. They set the diagnostic scanner on the table. I'm going to start by assuming you don't know anything. They take your arm and roll up your sleeve, inspecting your synthetic skin. Your body is dying, they say. They say it without ceremony, without drama, but not without empathy. Essen ARP, the corporation, right, doesn't like to see its proprietary technology let loose. To prevent bodies like yours, frames as they call them, from being stolen, repurposed, or in your case escaping, they built in the process of so-called planned obsolescence. Yeah, we know that already. Frames decay rapidly when not regularly injected with stabilizer, one which Essen ARP remains the sole producer of. Hey, look up. Sound familiar? Yup. Good. That may help. They swap to your other arm, running some thin metal device over your skin. You feel your forearm tremble. I'm sorry, Sabine says, and you are unsure if they mean for the cold touch of the metal or everything else. Emulations like you, sleepers, as most people know you, aren't classified as people in any of the surrogate systems. You have no rights, no status. They focus hard on the inspection of your arm. And Essen ARP has no reason to release stabilizer into the market. Sabine looks up as if to apologize again, but they stop themselves. I know little of this is of use to you. They turn away, disassembling the metal instrument and cleaning it. Silence fills the room as Sabine works, and then the silence gives way to tension. You stare at their back, willing them to say something. Anything. Sabine turns to face you. I may be able to help. They sigh, and you see the darkness under their eyes, hear the fatigue in their voice. They gesture to the door. You saw Toshiro outside? Yeah. He works for my benefactor, Yatagan. They are influential in the low end. They give me the space to work, run the door, and take the profits. At the same time, I have to fix up their enforcers, tend to their implants, sew up their wounds. They look away. But Yatagan has connections. Smugglers from the Starwood Belt, mercenaries working for the corporations on Ember. If they can source the stabilizer, maybe you'll have a better chance. Sabine sets down their slate, their notes complete. This is dangerous, and it'll be expensive. But I think we can do it. And that is the pressing question now. Why help? And I will not let you find out. I'll stop here. It's well written. It's well written, and we can go as far as to say that we have some choice, even though there is a sort of forced linearity with the necessity to survive by getting those drugs or a replacement for them. Namely the condition of the player character. Not bad. For what it is, really good actually. I like the way they do things here. If in the end it's more novel than game, I don't know. I also don't know how important that really is, because the question would be, for you as a player, is that something you would enjoy? Lots of story, lots of text. If not, you can easily skip it. It doesn't matter how much game is in there, because it will have a lot of text. But for those looking for a novel-like experience or a story-driven game, this is a good one, I'd say.